And this group here?
I think it could have, it says something to do with the beach. They could have fled the country on a boat, and then someone from a humanitarian organisation came to help them. And knew like a lot of things could have happened, like a civil war in the country.
Yeah.
Lots of death threats.
And when you hold up the photo again, just for us to see, how old do you think the one they might be in the red blanket?
No. Teens, I'd say.
Maybe around
mid-teens, yeah.
Mid-teens.
That's it. And then, I don't know, it just looks like he's cold as well. Which is lovely.
Okay. Nice, thanks. And you guys with your photo? You want to show us your photo? Let's hold it up.
I think it's been like an earthquake or an airstrike or something, because it's wrapped in like, there's like debris and stuff around it.
Who do you think is the girl in the picture?
Like a volunteer helping out or something.
Yeah, nice. Alright, so I'll give you this one as well. But just to talk a little bit more about the photos. So the photos, you can see, they were taken in the Canary Islands, and basically they were it's a tourist sort of place. People like to go there for their holidays. It's a really well-off area. But what happens is that on the beaches, quite often smuggling boats arrive with people on them. So people that want to come here for asylum, and you know, they get washed up on the beach and just left there. And like you guys said, interestingly, people weren't happy about that because they thought, you know, they're sort of ruining our nice beaches. And there was this attitude of, well, we don't really want to help them, and not understanding the situation of these people. But what happened on this day where the photos were taken is that some of the tourists just didn't want to ignore it anymore and just came over and started helping, and in masses, you know, try to, lots of people were dehydrated, so giving them water, making sure everyone's okay. There was quite a few casualties on that day though, and this, this was a mild day. The photographer says in the article it's a mild day. Usually it's way worse. But yeah, so when people come and migrate, you might have to pay a smuggler to put you on a boat. The boat might not be strong enough to carry people though. So on the journey, it might be a 600 miles journey. Boats might sink, or with the weather conditions, people might starve to death on the boat. So it's quite extreme circumstances. So you think there's a strong reason why people want to make this journey. So on that note, the paper that I just gave you guys has a story on there. So if we want to read paragraph by paragraph, so if maybe this table, if you guys would like to read one paragraph and then pass it over and we'll go around.
Okay. Fomes Kamara is a 41-year-old father of three from Guinea-Bissau, in Africa. He travelled to sea from Africa on a patera, a small open fishing boat, across 100 kilometres to Spain's Canary Islands to flee from poverty and war.
We set off at 5 in the morning, and by 7 that evening we were in Spain.
work to give his family, which he hasn't seen for 7 years, a better life. However, he is not allowed to work as he is not legally a citizen in Spain, and he cannot afford to return to his home country. The government cannot return Foe to Guinea-Bissau as Spain does not have an agreement with them on returning migrants. He is stuck in a very difficult situation. What do you guys think about that? How do you feel? Yeah. Can you imagine ever being in that situation? It's hard, isn't it? And when you look at that boy, he might be around your age. So coming on this journey, being in this, would he be able to go to school? And all those. All right. So to pick it up a little bit, we've got. We're doing the quiz. Yeah. We've just got a quiz. Where are my answers? Okay, so just to pick it up a little bit, because that was quite depressing. Just think of some of the information we just went through, and in each table, if you could come up with a team noise. If you've ever seen the quiz show, right? This would be something quite memorable. So I'll give you 4 seconds, all right? Alright. So can we hear this table, your noise first? On 3. 1, 2, 3. Do it. Nice, okay. And this table, 1, 2, 3. This one over here. 1, 2, 3. Up. Okay, nice. Alright, so when you're ready, we'll go to the first question for you. So, how much can a migrant pay to smuggle this? What's the maximum they would pay to smuggle this? I can give you options. So A, 200 euros, B, 1,000 euros, or C, 2,000 euros. What do you think? Yeah, what do you think? Not quite. Anyone else?
1,000.
Yes. Yeah. So you will pay 1,000 euros to smuggle across the sea or across the land. Alright, so in Europe in 2012, which country received the highest number of asylum applications? Was it A, France, B, Germany, or C, the UK?
Bond.
Bond? No.
Milk.
Yes?
France.
No.
Oh.
Okay. No. Okay, alright, I'll bring that one. Okay. Now, out of those 3 countries, which one hosted the largest number of refugees worldwide? So was it A, Australia, B, Pakistan, or C, Germany? Yeah, so was that you? Yeah. Anyone keeping track of points?
Yeah, we have 2.
Okay, question 4. Where do most refugees in the world come from? A, Somalia, B, Afghanistan, or C, China?
Milk.
Yes?
China.
No, not
How was it?
Afghanistan. Yep, Afghanistan. And where do most of the refugees live? Is it A, in the USA, B, in Europe, or C, in neighboring countries? Yes?
Europe.
No.
Milk.
Oh, sorry, neighboring countries. Why do you think the largest number of refugees would be living in neighboring countries?
Milk. Because you can't afford or haven't got legal permission to move to the
Yeah, because 1,000 euros is a lot. Yeah. Okay, and from September 2012 to September 2013, so within a year, how many asylum applications were made in the UK? Was it A, around 55,000, B, around 124,000, or C, 23,000-ish? Yes? Yeah. Well done. It's like 0.5 each. Well done. What was... Oh, sorry, did you say false? Ah, no, that's false.
They didn't get a point then.
Right, okay. There you go, so it hasn't doubled. What percentage of asylum applications were initially refused during 2012? So A, 34% refused, B, 44% refused, or C, 21%?
Now,
Yes?
44%.
Yeah. So that's, imagine the people that you've seen in the photos applying for asylum, and 44% of those people were refused and sent back.
Is that the UK?
Yeah. What percentage of the world's population are migrants? A, 25%, B, 10%, or C, 3%?
Now,
Was it? 25?
25, yeah. No? No?
now,
Yes?
10%.
No?
Oh,
Yes? Okay. Well done. Yeah. Right, so just keep, any questions? No? No? Just keep that info in your mind. I'll take it. And I'll pass you over to Helen.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about migration. We haven't really talked about why. What are some of the reasons that people are going to decide, I've had enough of being here, I'm going somewhere else? Given that the journeys that they're going to have to make are not going to be easy. So what are the reasons people decide to migrate? So where they don't like the government, or the government in their country is a bit of a problem? Yeah? So getting away from a government they don't like or agree with, that's definitely one of the reasons. What else? Why do people leave the country that they were born in? Conflict, wars. Yeah, sometimes with other countries, sometimes civil wars, so within that country they're fighting with each other. An awful lot of migration comes from conflict and war within the area that they were born. What other reasons do people migrate? Looking for a better life. Coming from somewhere where the economy, their chances of making a good living, their chances of supporting a family, their chances of their children getting a good education, where their chances aren't good, they will move to somewhere where they think their chances might be better. Any other reasons why people migrate? So we've got don't like the government, conflict, better life. Oh, very quiet. A lot of time people will move because they come from an area where there have been natural disasters. Yeah? But also, increasingly in the world, people will move if they are in an area where the majority of people have a different religion to them. And they don't want to be in an area where people are mostly of a different religion, so people will move to an area where there are people of a similar religion as well. So a lot of reasons that people might migrate. Do any of you know anyone who's moved to live in another country? Yeah? Where did they go?
No, I went from South Africa
Do you know the reasons why your family moved?
to
Okay.
It wasn't because I had a good education. It's just being from the safe to
So again, looking for a different life. Not all migration is about people coming from poor countries to richer countries. A lot of migration, a lot of people move from the UK to go and live in Spain because of the sun, or they go to live in Australia, again, because of the sun and the beaches. So people move for all sorts of different reasons. But an awful lot of the migration that we've been talking about in some of the pictures there are people coming from countries where there is conflict. Now, Lewis said that that set of pictures was taken on a beach in the Canary Islands. Anyone like to say why they think there might be an awful lot of migrants coming from boats ending up somewhere like the Canary Islands? Also a lot of bits of southern Italy as well. Why is that? It's the nearest place. An awful lot of migrants are going to be coming from areas in Africa. Here's the Canary Islands there. It's also a bunch of islands. It's a lot easier to sneak in somewhere from the sea than trying to cross a border where you're going to have fences and guards and all that kind of thing. So an awful lot of migrants who are trying to move from Africa, who haven't got permission to do so, and asylum seekers are going to try to make this crossing to the Canary Islands. And we talked about the amount that people might pay to smugglers, and there are a lot of smugglers. Any guess the kind of boats that they might take them across that crossing in? Usually small fishing boats that are designed to just go out for day fishing.
Those ones like the massive ones, the containers on there, I was thinking
And then there's the other one. Things, big, huge container ships, with the big containers that maybe you've seen down on the docks that are designed to have cars and things in. People go in there, no ventilation, stuck in there sometimes for days and days on end, very, very hot in a tin box, and people very often die during the journey. And the pictures that you've got, a lot of them looking, they're being given water, yeah, dehydration. Even if it's not that hot, they might have been making 4, 5, 6 day journeys across, and in open boats, an awful lot of sun on them, so that journey across there, really, really difficult. So in order for people to be willing to make those kind of difficult journeys, they have to be moving away from something really quite terrible. It's not just, oh, I think I'll pop over to Britain and have a better job. To be willing to risk your life to make that journey, they have to be escaping something that's very difficult with the hope of something a lot better. Okay, so we've talked about migration. What I'm going to get you to do now is have a little think about where you reckon most of the migrants and asylum seekers into Britain come from. Okay, so up here, we've got a list of a whole bunch of countries. In your groups, I'm going to give you just 5 minutes or so to have a chat. Which of those countries do you think might be the top 10 countries that people come from and then move to this country? Okay? So which do you reckon are the top 10 that send people to this country? Okay? Here, what I want you to do is pick what you reckon is your number one, come and take it off the list, okay, and we'll give you a hand to try to stick it somewhere near where the actual country is on the map. We'll give you a hand finding it. So, which country are you going for? Which one do you reckon? Going for Pakistan, straight in there. Yeah, so you stick it on there. So they reckon most of those migrants, asylum seekers coming from Pakistan. Brilliant. Oh no, first of all, how many did you reckon come to the UK from Pakistan in 2012? Did you have a go?
only in 2012.
Yeah. Not forever, just in 2012. Pick a number. One of these that's near what you reckon.
The biggest one.
We could be here a while. Okay, it's gone for 5,900. Find some blue tap then. Stick it on. Run out of precious blue tap. Brilliant. So you're reckoning Pakistan is number one and just short of 6,000. Gents, do you want to come up and find another one? What you reckon might be number 2 or 3? One that's nice and high up on your list.
Number 2 or 3.
What was on your list? Ah, you're sorry. Yeah, go for your number 1 if you want. Sorry, my fault. You might have a different one. Oh, they go for Afghanistan. Yes, there it is. Brilliant. Afghanistan. About how many do you reckon came from Afghanistan? So he's going for the highest number I've got, which is 20,000. I'm going to give it to Lou and she'll stick it there. It's a high one. Gents? Which country are you going for? Gone for India. Okay. About how many do you reckon? He's gone for 11,000. So did you have a go as well, ladies, or are you just recording? Okay, we'll come back around then. Do you want to go? Are you saying you get to go?
Oh, USA.
Gone for the USA?
We said 10,000.
Whatever's closest to that. Okay. This group, do you want to go for another one on your top 10? China. Can you find it? It's a huge blue country. Aha. There we go. What's your number for China? Too much choice. 6,000. This group, going to come and pick another country? Straight in there with Ethiopia? Oh, straight on the map. The ex-geography teacher within me is very pleased by that. Fab. And he's going for gents? Really hidden underneath there. So we've gone for Syria. Okay, so you've all had two, so we've got 6 countries. We've got USA, Ethiopia, India, Syria, Pakistan, China, Afghanistan. Are there any others that you've got that you reckon are in the top 10? No, just shout out now. So you reckon Bangladesh? Okay, they reckon Bangladesh? Oh, you got okay, he wants to sit down. Come on, then, show you. Yeah,
Myanmar. View Zimbabwe. What are you doing?
South Africa.
Should go from Myanmar.
Straight in there. High number. Any others?
George, what are the Myanmar?
Iran? Where's Iran on the list? There it is.
We've got Kenya now.
Iran's hiding. Okay, so we've got a bunch up there. What can we see just from the map? What is it telling us about? There's a chunk, they're kind of relatively close together. Any idea why that might be, why you think that's where most of them come from? Why there? Okay, so down here, some of the underdeveloped and developing countries, yeah? What about around here? Remember, this is about movement, particularly asylum seekers, to Britain. You can do it across land. It's not that close. It's a hell of a long journey. What challenges might people face coming from, say, somewhere like Syria to get to the UK? What are the challenges they're going to face along that journey? Transport's quite a big answer. What bits of transport?
What type of transport?
I'll say, look, what? What are they going to travel in? Any ideas about the kinds of transport they often do use? It'd be really, difficult boat journey from Syria.
Truck, lorries.
A lot of people come in lorries, in the back of lorries, on container lorries. Yeah, there have been a lot of cases of people managing to tie themselves to the axles underneath lorries. Some of those roads as well, horrendous, some very, very difficult journeys coming from here. What else is along the way? It's a nice straight road from Syria and Pakistan to central London. Okay, so bumps, or you might want to call those, some of the mountains, some of the biggest, most dangerous mountains, Afghanistan and Pakistan, the foothills of the Himalayas, the biggest mountain, huge. What kind of weather do we think of when we think of places like Pakistan and we think of heat? In the mountains, during the winter, almost entirely covered in snow, completely freezing. A lot of people will die of cold making some of those journeys. So it isn't, it's those extremes of temperature. What else? So we've got the mountains, we've got the transport. What else is in their way? The borders. There's a hell of a lot of borders to get through. And if people are travelling without a passport, without permission, if they are, which a lot of refugees, almost all asylum seekers are going to be doing, they're not going to be able to go up to passport control and say, please let me through. So that's where they pay smugglers. That's where they're willing to take great risks in how they get through places. So there's a lot of checkpoints. And how many of you have been on holiday and gone through passport control out of Britain? How long does it normally take? It can take about an hour. Boring as hell. Yeah, wait. Oh, we say speed up. Checkpoints along that route, very, very different to flying out of Heathrow or out of Cardiff, where there's very little security. A lot of those checkpoints, those road checkpoints, will be armed guards with instructions to shoot anybody who doesn't answer the first time. So incredibly difficult, very, very dangerous journeys from a lot of these places. But we've got 10 up there we have. I'll tell you what the actual list is. The number one, hiding in there. Number one is Pakistan. I'm not putting it in the right place. Number one is Pakistan. Number two, hiding in there we have Iran. Number three, nope, nobody picked it. It's Sri Lanka. Number three is Sri Lanka. Number four, Afghanistan is on your list. 5, Nigeria. 6 is Bangladesh. 7 is Syria. You have Syria. 8 is China. You did have China. 9 is India. And number 10 is a surprising one. Albania. Okay. These are our official migrant numbers. Some of the numbers that I've got are, these are the numbers just for official asylum seekers. So the actual numbers may be a bit different and a bit higher, but the numbers I've got are for those who officially come and seek asylum and actually choose to want to stay here. So how many did we have up against Pakistan? It was quite a high number, wasn't it? So actually you got 5,900. That's a really good guess. The actual number is 6,500. So really good guess, really quite close. Iran, number 2, 4,200. So not a huge number again. Do you reckon we took the most people from Iran, or do you reckon any other country might have taken more? Sorry? Yep. Any guess at which country might have taken the most? Germany. Yeah, Germany take far more from Iran than we do. It's not actually. They've got a lot of opportunities in bits of Germany for work, particularly for migrant work. So actually people have gone there because they can get the work. So mostly it's work rather than it's slightly closer. Sri Lanka, we took 3,000. France took nearly 7,000. So although we see an awful lot on the numbers that we are taking in this country, a lot of other European countries actually take more from various places than we do. Why do you think, so quite high up there, we've got Pakistan, also India and Bangladesh are in there. Why do you think maybe that quite large numbers of people from those countries choose Britain? So this isn't the reason they've chosen to leave, it's why choose here. Why might they choose Britain rather than somewhere else? Any thoughts? Okay, we have the NHS, we have a health system. Do they not have a health system in France and Germany? They do. They have a good health system in many other European countries. Now ours is a particularly good one in terms of the access for free at the point of access as it's called, but other European countries have it. There's something particular about this country that means we get quite a lot of people coming from places like Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, rather than them going to other European countries. There are some people, we are an island, so there are some people who do manage to sneak in. Actually, our passport control is very tight. So it's not about that. They're choosing this country for a particular reason.
It's through the Commonwealth.
Oh, the Commonwealth, sorry. The Commonwealth, we're the Commonwealth, so they used to be, like, the Queen is still classed as their head of state. We used to basically be in charge of India. And India, Pakistan and Bangladesh were part of the British Commonwealth. So very, very good answer. There is a very old link between India, Pakistan, Bangladesh and this country. They are still part of the Commonwealth, that larger group of countries where the Queen is their head of state. So when India, Pakistan and Bangladesh broke up in the 50s, an awful lot of people came here then to live. We asked people to come here to do work that we needed doing. So there are very well established communities from those countries here already. So when they are looking to migrate now, particularly when they're looking for asylum, because there's problems going on in their countries, if you were about to move somewhere to another country, you probably might choose somewhere where perhaps you had family. So one of the reasons we get so many people from those areas is because there are already communities here. And new migrants will want to go to areas where they might have relatives or they already have communities. So that does explain why there's relatively high numbers in that area. Nigeria as well also was a member of the Commonwealth. So similarly, people here and they're going to come and join us. What about the high numbers, relatively high numbers from places like China and Nigeria? Any ideas why they might be quite high? It's that simple. Actually, they are some of the countries with the most people in, so they represent some of the biggest populations in terms of movement. We've been talking about where people come from to this country, but one of the questions in the quiz was where are the biggest migrations? And the biggest migrations are often neighbouring countries. So for example, where is it? Colombia, which is there, Ecuador, which is there. Well, I would guess at how many people moved between Colombia into Ecuador in 2012. Take a stab in the dark. How many thousand? About 25. Relatively, but still, I took a stab in the dark, which is what I said. It was high. It's a higher number than any of the migrations into Britain by a long way. Any ideas why so many people might move from Colombia to Ecuador? Race relatively poor, but actually, Ecuador is relatively poor as well. Oh, I'm sorry. Isn't poor. War. Some of the to move short distances. But that border there can be a very, very dangerous border. One of the other huge national movements is from Zimbabwe, which is here, into South Africa. South Africa, a big country, but the border between them is really quite small. And take a guess at why people are going from Zimbabwe to South Africa? Shops. Oh, my hearing's going. I think shops would have been interesting. Actually, they do go there. There's an awful lot of work in the industrial stuff. But part of the problem with Zimbabwe is their economy. And they got to a stage a couple of years ago where their money was worth so little that people were having to go to the shop with their money in wheelbarrows. Because they couldn't carry enough to go and buy their basics because their economy was so bad. They were having millions and millions and millions of their notes to buy really simple things. Their economy was a real dive. So even though that crossing there very, very dangerous, there were jobs as well as shops on the other side. So people were willing to live. But every year, hundreds of people get shot at that crossing because they have shoots to kill over from that border. So imagine how desperate they must feel on that side to be willing to make that crossing. So large numbers of people moved, not just from poor areas to more economically stable areas, but they moved for all the reasons you've mentioned about war, about looking for better lives, about religious freedom. But also a lot of people move between developed countries. Now this would be you have the USA now. We do get quite a lot of people coming from the US, but an awful lot they're not officially staying here. They are coming over for a shorter amount of time. And a lot of people from this country move to Australia, move to the USA, move to Spain for the nicer weather. So migration is a huge and complicated picture. But what we're looking at today is some of the difficulties that people face and things they are willing to go through in order to get to what might be a better life. I think we are due to finish at 11, so I will stop there. Have you got any questions that you wanted to ask before we finish? Thank you very much, guys. We will take your pictures in off you when we finish, but if you want to stay here until the bell goes, that would be brilliant.